Hi, welcome to Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene. I'm Frank Conniff. That's Irene Bremis.
I'm Irene.
And we're here today. And how are you doing, Irene?
I'm doing good. Frank, that was a much more seamless intro. I think that you really need to grab the reins on that one because I have fucked it up, not just once, but consistently every single time that I've done our introduction.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite amazing, Mr. Conniff. So what's going on with you? How's life treating you on this new same day?
Life is treating me, fine. It's I'm taking a bite out of the same shit sandwich that everybody's eating, but other than that, it's I would say I can't complain, except that I complain constantly. But I shouldn't complain, but I do.
But you know what, Frank? That's why I love you, because I also love to fucking complain. Now, can we please talk about the shit sandwich? What I've noticed during this Corona thing is that I don't want to overdo it on the foods that I like the most, because I'm getting kind of sick of them, and that's like something joyful for me. Like certain foods that I'm overeating now, like grilled cheese is one. Like who doesn't love grilled cheese?
It's the best.
It's the fucking best.
I haven't had any cheese in months because it's not good for my heart.
Right. And I'm not going to, I'm a bad friend for even bringing up grilled cheese. Why would I do that? What kind of a fucking asshole am I to even bring up cheese?
No, I love hearing about food that I can't have, even if I can't have it.
It's sort of like a wet dream, isn't it, Frank? Like you just can visualize it. Do you ever have like, do you have any substitutes for cheese? Like, like the tofurkey, or I'm not really familiar with that kind of cheese sub. Anything that's quite...
No, I, through the whole pandemic, I've had 3 meals that I eat over and over and over again. I have bagels and low sugar, low sodium peanut butter for lunch, or grilled chicken. And then for dinner, I'll either have turkey burgers, chicken burgers with boiled potatoes and some vegetarian chili, or I'll have pasta with turkey meat sauce or chicken meat sauce. And it's one or the other, like constantly.
Hold on a second, Frank. What the fuck am I doing here when I could be over there having a gourmet, multi-optional menu? Are you kidding me with that? That's like that's a very extensive menu, as far as I'm concerned.
But it's the same 3 meals over and over again. But I like it though, So I'm cool with it, and I haven't ordered out for food, although I think people should order out because you support the restaurants that way.
Right?
But,
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
But I haven't. I've just been cooking at home, and that's it.
So, Frank, I can't believe, you're cooking now, right? You were never cooking before. I know this, right? Because I asked you. Now you're cooking. You're using that kitchen of yours that I thought was purely decorative.
Last year when I got sick, I had never cooked a meal in my house ever. And since then, I cook meals every night.
Wow. I'm coming over, Frank. I'm coming over for dinner because, quite frankly, my husband is a retired firefighter. There's supposed to be magic in the kitchen, and I get zilch, okay? They're supposed to be the gourmet chefs.
That surprises me because he has a pizza place, right? So
he does. It's almost like I set this up for you, and he does bring pizza home, and we do put it in the oven, and we eat pizza, which I absolutely love. Pizza, I'm glad you brought up the pizzeria, because the pizzeria might be a casualty of COVID, and that makes me so sad. So if anybody finds themselves in Manhattan I'm shamelessly plugging, and I am. And I think you should support all local businesses. But if you find yourself on Baker Street in Manhattan, you want a phenomenal slice of pizza, please stop by Fiore's. We just
They've got good stuff. I've eaten there. It's very good.
You ate there. That's right. When you could eat there. when you could eat there.
Yeah.
Frank, in fact, I made Frank take a picture with a slice in his mouth so that we can promote Fiore's, and he graciously did that. Remember, Frank? I was like, put this in
And
your
you
mouth.
know what? It's not that I'm never going to eat pizza again, but you know, it's like a once in a while thing now. You know,
right? And you know,
it's
I love the way you do that, because you know, I love that you have real moderation now, because you haven't really you haven't cut everything out of your diet since your heart surgery, but you definitely eat healthy as a whole, and then you'll once in a while have like a slice of pizza, or have like
right,
or something,
or a steak. You know, John Fugelsang gave
trying to
me a
kill
bunch
you.
of Omaha he gave me Omaha steaks, which I've had like 2 of them over a period of like 3 weeks. So I've been moderate with those too.
Well, let me tell you. Okay, that's Rachel. Oh, I didn't want to introduce our guest so soon, but she's a little impatient right here. Let me just say that Omaha Steaks, I can't even imagine a greater gift, because I myself could eat steak every night, every single night. Frank Conniff. All right, so that's our guest. We have a very high tech operation here in my bedroom. I just actually moved from in front of the bed so I can look a little bit more alive. Our guest, who is not only one of my my best friends, I've known her forever. She is also a very funny comedian. She's on Amy Schumer's podcast, 3 Girls, 1 Keith. She also, Amy Schumer's presents Only Whores Wear Purple. And she is amazing in every sense of the word. The phenomenal, the talented, the lovely Rachel Feinstein, everybody. Rachel Feinstein. And we just admitted her. And sweetie. Oh, sweetie. I know. You're gonna. Rachel, I want you to meet Mr. Conniff.
It's not working.
It's not working. This is what I love about Rachel.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
It's okay, sweetie. This is what you call a low budget. What's up? Oh, you're wearing...
Sweetie, you know it is.
Sweetie, I love the shirt that you're wearing. You're wearing the shirt that I really love, the Run DMC. Remember I tried to steal that from you, and you give me everything.
I've had it for like 20 years.
Right, and it was like, I know it was hard for you to ask for that shirt back, and it was painful, and a part of me wanted to keep it from you. But then I had to address the elephant in the room. And so I said, here's the T-shirt. Anyway, meet Mr. Conniff, Rachel.
I would have forgotten about it and stolen. I would have forgotten about it and stolen it, by the way. Hi.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Frank.
Good to see you.
Rachel,
thank you for having me, Frank.
Rachel, we're so happy
pleasure.
that you're here. Believe me. Now, Frank, Rachel, when we talk about like what's going on with COVID, and you think about the things that you're glad that you wouldn't be, like the predicaments you would be in, thank God I wasn't this during Corona. Well, Rachel was quite preggers in Corona and delivered birth. Rachel, you look like you were never pregnant at all, sweetie, and that's a giant compliment. Look at
Thanks to the expert trainer right here, sweetie. Don't forget who kicked my rump, sweetie.
And I'll kick it because it's so fun to do. Rachel, what the hell? And I already know this, but I want Frank to know about this, and I want our listeners and viewers to know about this. What the fuck was it like, sweetie, being pregnant during Corona? And I know the answer already, so I'm gonna have to act surprised with every response.
I was like weirdly into it. Just kind of pumped, about the whole thing. Just sort of worked for me. It was a shit show. There are some plus sides to it because I didn't have the fear of missing out. So at the beginning of my pregnancy, I was like hiding it, like I treated it like a teenage pregnancy, and like my dad was a priest or something. It was very weird. I hid it until like the bottom of the 9th. I was dressing like B. Arthur, wearing a lot of like oversized blazers. I dressed like a district attorney on stage to cover it.
Yeah, I remember.
So that was weird. Yeah, you remember. And
I do. But you always, like, if you don't mind me saying, you kind of also sometimes before pregnancy dressed like a district attorney. We've had this talk. You've had too many blazers in your closet.
That is true.
Discuss this.
Yes. I wear a hostile amount of blazers, and I have been taken aside by a few people. And they're not like kind of edgy blazers either. They're like kind of navy, like Talbots, asexual blazers. I over blazer. I'll admit it. I go rogue with a blazer.
You know what? You have to.
Yeah. And when you get on stage, you want to feel like that strong or something. I don't know. You just feel you blazer up, and then people will respect you, because I know I'm not a voice of authority. I'm aware I have no information. I never went to college. There's like, my worst nightmare is like a game of impromptu trivia. I have a lot of opinions.
Oh my God, mine too, Rachel. Believe me, I have strong opinions on things I know nothing about, sweetie. Fake it till you fake it, right? Am I right? A lot of strong opinions and no, absolutely nothing at all. So you
should be on cable news.
Exactly.
When did you have your baby?
I had her on May 20th.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. She's very cute.
I would imagine that must have been, all blazers aside, that must have been very, very stressful.
And by the way, for the audience, Frank starts all his sentences like that. All blazers aside.
Blazers aside.
No, it was crazy. Remember that weekend in March where it was like Tom Hanks had it and a few of the Golden State Warriors or some shit, and all of a sudden we were like, then we can have it too for some reason. I don't know why we have nothing in common with Tom Hanks, but for some reason I heard that and I was like, yeah.
Rachel, I thought we had it before that. You know? I thought we had it before that when the MC was sick at that one show and he was coughing into the mic, sweetie. And what did I do as a good friend? I always made you more paranoid, sweetie, because that's what I do. I was a fucking harbinger of bad fucking news every single time.
You were, but you made me be careful. I've never worried about germs or I never care about shit like that. I'm not a germ person. I assume I'm the gross one. I'll sip off anyone's drink. So when all the germ people were rambling about it, I was like, yeah, whatever, germ people. I figured there's always a few people in your lives that are like warning about like swine flu, bird flu, all this shit. I never listen. I'm like, whatever. And then it got a little awkward.
I think you might have not still listened had you not been, germing for two, sweetie. You had like the little one in the oven at the time and you were, No,
you're not wrong. I mean,
I know even I'm not wrong.
The night after we found out Tom Hanks got it and everybody was weird, the next morning I had to fly to Florida to do these shows. And I was just like, do I not fly to? And I was like, well, let's just get to Florida and then I'll see how it is. And Pete came with me, my husband came with me, and it was like they weren't acknowledging it in Florida. Like the shows were sold out.
And I was like this, remember? I was like, no, Rachel, you got to come home, sweetie. And you did because they weren't acknowledging, but you did. And I was really proud of you. You just, you canceled the rest of the shows and you came home. And
I did my first 2 Friday shows. Let's not lie to the viewers. Sweetie, I did a couple.
Well, you're anything, sweetie, okay? A girl's got to make some money, sweetie.
I know. I was like, I can't fly out here and bring home no dough. I did my Thursday, Friday shows, and then Saturday was getting like really weird, and everybody was. And in New York, like you couldn't get a fucking loaf of bread, and everybody was telling me it was like a shit show. So Saturday, I canceled. For the baby, as a mother, and I start all my sentences like that. So I canceled Saturday, and then it just got really weird really fast. Like then I found out I had gestational diabetes and which is a complication, makes it a high risk pregnancy. It's not that crazy if it wasn't a global pandemic, but I couldn't go to really appointments regularly. Then there was an outbreak at our hospital, and it was just increasingly fucked up.
And one of the scariest things I think was, and I really felt for you, was that Pete might not be able to come. There was a time that we thought he might not be able to be there for the delivery. Remember?
Yeah, they told us he couldn't be in the delivery room.
Couldn't be there for the delivery room.
Fucking daunting.
Oh, there he is now. Nice ass, sweetie. Sorry, that's sexual harassment. Yelling at your husband.
Did you hear that? Can you hear her? She said, "Nice ass,
sweetie." I said, "Say, sweetie," and he loves it. It made it day. He loves it. So now you have the baby, and I'm dying to see this baby. And I haven't seen her yet, but I'm going to see her this week, and I'm really excited. I'm super excited. I want you to have solace. I am COVID-free, sweetie, so that you don't have to worry about me.
I know. You're going to be the first person to hold her since you just got your test back.
I got my test back, so I can.
First person besides us to hold her.
Right. So it's going to be unbelievable. I won't be able to let go. I just can't wait to see her. And so how is motherhood for you right now, sweetie? I see that you're doing a lot of ukulele. Her husband, Pete, plays the ukulele to the baby and sings these.
Oh, nice.
He does. He plays guitar and ukulele, and he's a firefighter. You know, Irene introduced us, so Irene set us up.
Oh,
Misery loves company.
Part of the whole comedian firefighter scene.
Yes, she introduced me. She was like, "Sweetie, go with the firefighter." And by the way, so she introduces me. The night we get set up, I go to meet Pete, and I'm at this Christmas party for FTY Christmas party in Brooklyn in this bar, right? And all he's been told about me is, do you want to meet this? This is how Junior, Steve's son, described me that worked with Pete. Do you want to meet a semi-famous Jewish comedian or Jewish jokester? It was not an arousing. That'll put you right back to bed as a man. He put his dick away and called it a night.
Tucked it away. That's right.
For some reason, he came to meet a semi-famous Jewish jokester, and then Irene was with me. And the whole time at the bar, I'm talking to Pete. Irene was there, kind of like this, little lips.
No, wait. Let's back up a little bit, sweetie. Let's just say this, okay? First of all, Junior, if we're going to be telling this, if we're going to tell the story accurately, Junior, who said he would set you up, actually didn't even call Pete. I had to step on that to make sure that Pete actually came, because Junior was going to suddenly decided that he wasn't even going to call Pete to the party, okay? And then Pete. Then when
he kind of cock-blocked it.
He cock-blocked the whole process. And then Pete was sitting in the distance. He wasn't even mingling with you. I had to call him over. There was a lot going on. It was
Pete said originally, after he said, do you want to meet a semi-famous Jewish comedian? He was like, sure, why not? Doesn't sound particularly arousing, but sure. And then, so Pete was waiting for Junior to give him the information. He told him the day, and Junior kept saying, I don't know, I got to feel it out. And I was like, all right, where's the guy? I don't know, I got to feel it out. We were both very confused, but Junior kind of held us both at bay. What did you have to feel out? It was just a drunken shit show FDNY party at a bar.
He just didn't want to call him, but then I made him, and thank God.
It was a very sexy moment. Irene took control. She was like, sweetie, give me that phone. You're not called. We were calling him Backdraft at the time. She was like, you're not calling Backdraft, sweetie. Give me that phone and let's call Backdraft right now, sweetie. No more, cut the shit, sweetie. And
you gotta watch out for the Backdraft.
You do.
Believe me. You better believe it, sweetie. I know all about those.
You know, this is amazing. Right now, your guys' lives are flashing before my eyes. This is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, Irene changed my whole life. I mean, and by the way, I always thought firemen were hot, but I never pictured I'd be married to one. And then it gets real when you're pregnant with a global pandemic. It's not anymore.
It almost never happens, Rachel, that you meet somebody within a year, are engaged, get married, and then pregnant, start a family. I mean, I've got the gift, okay? I have a gift of setting people up. Let's just call it what it is, sweetie.
Next thing you know, I'm pregnant with a fucking first responders baby walking around Williamsburg, and these hipsters are looking at me like they feel sorry for me. You know, I can see the sad eyes under the Etsy face masks, and it fucking hurts. You just look, I mean, nobody saw me pregnant because I was hiding it most of my pregnancy.
With our blazer.
And then
you were,
by the time I was
pregnant,
I know, and I kind of did like that, but then I kind of wanted just a moment. The baby shower, there was no, public baby shower. So then I just kind of would roam around Brooklyn, Wuhan, Brooklyn, holding my bump, and just so that I could get those sympathy stroll with the hipster face mask guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have even more gazing eyes now that you're gonna be strolling her around, sweetie. Those eyes are gonna be adoring little. And you will take it. And by the way, you did have a great shower.
And Irene, maybe
I did have a comedian shower. I did end up doing it. Like a bunch of comedians made a Zoom shower. Marina, Franklin, Yamanika, and all impressed. These comics. I know, it was so sweet. Until made me laugh so much. They all did toast when he said, you put the woo in Wuhan. And then he toasted with his hand sanitizer. That was the highlight of my year. That was worth having a baby in a pandemic. Yeah, why not? But back to the night, Irene, and I'm rambling. Back to the night that Irene set me up. It was very, very funny. So we're sitting there getting to know each other. And then Irene was right next to me, kind of like watching like this. And a little lit up like a Christmas tree. Let's not tell any lies here.
Sweetie, and then I love my wine.
She was going like this. She was going like this. Do you find him sexually attractive, sweetie? Like once if the answer is yes, twice if it's no, sweetie. And then she was, I was like, I think he can hear her. So like, she was like, sweetie, are you attracted to him, sweetie? And then she was just saying all kinds of shit like pension, sweetie. Keep it in mind.
But she was, I heard she was also whispering to the guy, do you find her a relatively famous Jewish comedian?
Meanwhile, nobody's ever recognized me ever with him. I think
that's not true, like Rachel. Somebody did recognize you. Remember? And you said, "I love Rachel." Where were we? We were in Vermont. You were wearing a hat, and you came in and you go, "Guess what?" And I said, "What?" And you go, "Somebody just recognized me."
Oh, finally! Yeah, like 2 years into the relationship, I just wanted one moment where he sees. He's so unimpressed with all of it. I'm like, I've done some things, goddammit. When I did Conan, I was like, can I get like a text, please? But yeah, he doesn't care about that part of my life, unfortunately.
Well, I think
I should be eating a granola bar.
You should be eating a granola bar because we're going to be working that off tomorrow, sweetie. Not to worry, okay? Don't you worry. But it's a lot of stress in all seriousness. Starting a family during COVID is a lot of stress. Yet it seems like it's weirdly like perfect because now everybody's staying home, so you can bond with the baby. You know what I mean? You don't have to be running all over the place. And I think these are real
there are some
issues
perks.
with newborns.
No unwanted visitors. All you have to say is we're trying not to kill her. You know, yeah, he can't leave. He couldn't leave the hospital for 3 days. We were just stuck in this room with her, staring at her. He wasn't even allowed to walk outside. Neither of us were. I mean, I couldn't walk, but he wasn't allowed to go outside. So it kind of forces you to fall in love with your baby.
Were you worried when you were pregnant about even like if there'd be like space in the hospital, if they'd be, you know what I mean? Like
terrified.
All that stuff.
Yeah,
I bet.
And the information was just changing every day. So it's like, you know, at first they're like, you can't come in the delivery room. And I'm like, what? Like I could do a lot of things. I can just, but I can't give birth alone. And I'm like, no, I can't manage that in any way. And then people give you all kinds of advice. People will be like, you have to have a home birth. You need a quarantine from your husband.
Those people are out of their minds, okay? Don't even get me started with the fucking home births, okay? Who wants to give a home birth? Especially during Corona. You did the right thing. You did the right thing. And
I'm not a home birth person. I want, you know, drugs. I want the sweetest, most clinical.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole idea of a natural childbirth without drugs, it's just disgusting.
For me,
in a bathtub.
I can only speak for myself.
Some people love to do it. I know friends that have done it. I just don't find it appealing.
Great.
It doesn't sound like something that's
I'm not that strong. I want to be crunching on as many drugs as possible. Just chomping on drugs, please.
You don't even want to know that you gave birth.
Exactly.
Hey, I was born in the 50s, and my mother drank martinis through the entire pregnancy with me. So
that makes me feel so much better. I love those kinds of tales because the first 2 months I didn't even know I was pregnant. So I love hearing that.
Yeah, I'm from the era. My mother was a smoker and a drinker, and she had 5 kids. And smoked and drank through every pregnancy.
I know. Why does she sound so hot and exciting?
She sounds very hot.
What was your mom's deal?
Yeah. I just envision her with a martini in one hand, a cigarette in the other while she's giving birth simultaneously. It's amazing. That's my kind of girl.
You know what?
Can't be
if you
worse than an
wanted,
epidural.
I'm serious. I'm serious about this. If you want to know what my family and what my childhood was like, watch the show Mad Men. That's my childhood.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Manhattan and also partially in New Rochelle in Westchester.
Was your dad hot and did he work in advertising?
He didn't work in advertising,
hot.
but he worked in he was a newspaper man and a journalist. And my mom was a housewife and a martini drinker. So
I love her.
I love
very
her
much
already.
of that era.
Did she smoke like a long cigarette?
She did like a long, like one of those, whatever it's called. His father was very handsome. He looked like Dick Tracy, that kind of like comic book. Yes, but with a strong chin.
Never seen a picture of him already aroused.
That you're already aroused. Let me tell you something, sweetie. I could see your nipples. Let me tell you something. This man had a strong chin. Okay, he could take it to the chin and not flinch.
Yes,
that's what I'm talking about. But he was smart.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be in a boxing match. You know, he had that.
I love a guy that looks like he has like an anger problem he's barely managing. You know, and I picture your father. Like
yes,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Did he do? Can I just suggest that when you put this podcast up, you got to put a pic of the father up because ladies have got to have something to blast themselves to.
Okay, that's right.
Father and mother. I want to see them both. What was your mom's name?
My mom's name was Liz.
And how did they meet each other?
I don't know exactly where they met. They got married in 1951. And my dad was 37. Perfect. My mom was 21.
Ooh, I like it. I like the 10. Oh, that's like he's going for the younger lady. I like it. And
that's the story they have on the books.
Steve did the same thing.
Sweetie.
Steve did the same thing. Steve did the same thing, sweetie. A younger woman. Who else is going to wheel him around, sweetie?
I know, the hottest redhead in town. That's who.
I'm still into younger women.
Really, you are?
I'm still totally into younger women. I'm always trying to meet women in their 50s. So,
you have a girlfriend now? Are you dating?
Not at the moment. I've never been. The pandemic is really fucked up for me because I'm.
You're not getting as much pussy as you usually do.
Well, he has pussy. It's not
never
Millie.
been hot. I've never been hotter than I am right now, and I can't see anyone.
Ah, God damn it! Yeah. All that going to waste.
Totally, all of this
is
going
wrong.
to waste. Yeah,
it's not going to waste. He's got a sweet ass and sweet hair to match, sweetie. What did I say? That wave, that length.
Hey,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's worth it, sweetie. That's worth just at least a stroll. Speaking of a sympathy stroll, you give them their sympathy. All right,
that's
your
right.
sympathy because they're not getting that dick. That was a really messy sentence, and I actively regret it. But yeah, Irene set me up, and now we have a baby, and it's so far so good. But
so far so good. Can you imagine if COVID was going on when I was born and my mother had me? They wouldn't put a mask on me. I would have had COVID like 5 times over because I can see if I was with Yanni and Despina, you well know they wouldn't be like wearing their masks like they should. So you're doing great, sweetie, as a mother.
No.
Okay? You're doing wonderful.
No.
Yanni would be ashing cigarettes on me. He wouldn't be putting a mask on me, so
it's true. And I'm an animal too. Like
you're an animal. But the baby doesn't wear a mask when she goes out. You're going to suffocate her. I'm going to put a little mask over her face.
You're not allowed to, but there's these little, you're not supposed to because it does suffocate them, but there's these little face masks that they have in China. The kids have, no, they're not masks, they're like shields, like those little motorcycle shields.
Yes,
and the babies do look very cute. Oh my God, I can't even handle how cute they look on the babies.
Right,
it's so disturbing.
As long as it's not really tight around its brain, sweetie, even though I see that you're really priming her for those headbands, right? Because she loves to wear her bands. She likes pressure around her skull. I've noticed that, sweetie. Every time I see her, she's wearing
Frank gave us a baby nurse as a gift. Yeah, Schumer gave us a baby nurse as a gift.
Frank, sweetie, Schumer. Yes.
Well, I'm like, who could help? It was like the nicest gift in the entire world.
It really is.
So she gave us a baby nurse.
It's amazing.
About to leave, and I'll just be rocking. And speaking of smoking, I'll just start smoking out the window. I think I'm going to just start smoking and drinking like your mother when the baby in her sleeps, and I won't be okay.
Yeah, not wearing.
I know. And she's like, I'm a true animal and like not a woman. And I walk into her room the other night. She has the most perfect bed, just perfectly made. Like I could never make a bed like that. I don't know how to fold a fitted sheet. I don't know how to arrange a throw pillow. Like I don't know stuff, you know.
But
and I'm a mess.
You are a mess, but that's not why he married you, sweetie. Not because you don't know how to fold a fitted sheet. He married you for your cha-cha.
Because I'm a fun-loving child. I'm a good
your cha-cha, baby.
Any
you can take a pole vaulting like nobody's business, sweetie. You got this.
I'm sure that any guy who marries a comedian, the first thing he's going to think is, "Wow, I bet they're great at homemaking."
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You're right. He knows I'm an animal, and he's the anal one. And he does yell at me, but what do you expect? Yeah. I mean, I'm teeming with ADD. I lose a debit card every week. But I walk into the nurse's room the other night and I sit on the bed. I'm like, okay, I've had this baby. She's healthy. We somehow got through this insane shit show. We had to move hospitals 2 times, but she's here. She's healthy. I sit on the bed and she's like, oh my God, what is that? The nurse is like, there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, oh no, I'm bleeding. And she's like, it's all over. Oh my God. And I stand up. And I realized that I was eating a protein bar and I got fudge from the protein bar all over her bed. Her perfectly white, like she made it herself, you know, just lovely. Right. I'm like, you're a true pig. But
that's it. You know what? That's great. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think that's great mothering right there because she won't have OCD. There's no greater affliction than OCD. Get her used to having chocolate spilled all over her bed and crumbs, sweetie. That's the kind of mothering.
I was so horrified, but then I looked at the baby. You're right. I was so horrified, but then I looked at the baby and I was like, she was screaming in that way that babies yell, like look at you like this, like are actively terrifying them. And I was like, and I suddenly was like, oh my God, you're so disgusting. How can you be a mother? But then I realized she was just looking at me like that because she wanted milk. She has no idea I'm a slob.
She has no idea. She's not judging you, sweetie.
She's not judging. She just wants milk.
She's not judging. She just wants some milk. That's it.
Yeah, I'll give her some mother. That I can do.
So when Kay leaves, are you seriously worried? Like, what are you going to do? Like, have her come a couple of times, or what's going to happen with that? Because
I've got to figure out something. It's just so tricky with the pandemic. Every choice you make, you feel like you're potentially risking your and everyone's life. I don't care for this. There were some good moments. I think we all felt like this, right? Tell me how you felt, Frank. Like in the beginning, obviously, when you're pregnant, there was other things to think about, and it was actively terrifying. Then there were some perks because, all right, I don't have the fear of missing out. Everybody's at home right now anyway. And now I'm fucking losing it. How are you? I mean, are you guys feeling like the same?
I'm very similar in that I had a pretty good attitude about it when it started, and I'm not a very social person anyway. I spend a lot of time in isolation regardless, but as the pandemic went on, I just got this sense of loss and this sense of New York not being what it was like a few months ago, you know, New York not being the vital, exciting place of people not packed into restaurants, you know, the streets not filled with people. It just depressed me, you know. It was, I don't like it when the world is a metaphor for my depression.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
It's so true, Frank. You're hilarious. Okay.
That was funny and poetic, Frank.
He's very poetic and funny. You know, Frank, in the beginning, and Rachel, you know this, I used to feel bad for anybody that was alone in isolation. But in all honesty, and I'm not just saying this, I actually, you know, it's hard to be with somebody on a consistent though. Like you know, I'm not used to being even around Steve. I love Steve, but we're not used to being around each other 24/7. And now I'm actually kind of envious of anybody that's alone during isolation.
Yeah.
I feel like you need breaks, you know, because it's not so easy.
All my friends want to kill their husbands.
You want to kill your husband, you know? We're losing it. We're not speaking to each other, and there's nowhere to go. He's upstairs, I'm downstairs. You know what I mean? So it's hard.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's like it's very
he had to move in the pandemic. We had to move in the pandemic. It was just the two of us.
There's that. You had to move on top of everything else.
We couldn't hire anybody because it was like in March where nobody was hiring anybody. And then we had to move and, you know, we were losing it. He threw my Reebok step. Mm-hmm. He threw my Reebok step that I used to work out for my sad home workouts with Irene. But that's how much of a shit show it was.
Penis.
You know, you sound very, you sound very like, not that crazy. And from what you're describing, you've like had the worst fucking pandemic.
Yes, she really has.
I heard of. You were pregnant. And then you had to move, and I could just imagine like the stress of that must have been just insane.
I'm going to step in here. I'm going to step in right here, and I'm going to compliment the shit out of Rachel because honestly, she handled it so great. Now, Frank and I, we live for complaining. That's all we love to do. We love to fucking complain. It's our right, and you don't complain though. That's the thing. You never complained once. You were such a trooper. Which actually is a victim, really, if you think about it at the end of the day. Seriously, sweetie. You were so graceful during this, and it was such high stress. It really, really was. I mean, she was pregnant. She gave birth. She didn't even know she could have her husband, and she had to move. I almost forgot the damn move. She had to move during this as well. So it's crazy.
It's a lot.
And her husband is a fireman. Okay, so that's also very scary because when you're on the front lines, you know, it's scary that you get very concerned about COVID. So there was a lot going on.
I've heard though that the firemen are putting fires out on Zoom now. Is that true?
Yes, they are. No joke. They really are.
I like it, sweetie.
Firemen.
It's nuts. Yeah, he's on medical leave right now, and he hurt his shoulder in a fire, so I just punched him every morning. So he's got to go back. Give him a good
You had to. And I encourage it.
That terrified you, didn't it, Frank? That's how your father punched, right? Yeah. Just like that. Little jerk.
No, his father looks more like an uppercut guy, sweetie. An uppercut, sweetie. Right.
Oh, yes. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Mr. Conniff. What did he do? What did he say he did again?
He was a journalist.
Your dad? What did he do again?
What? He was a journalist.
Interesting. Is he proud? Yeah. Is he proud of you going into radio and all that?
He didn't live long enough.
He never knew.
He died when I was like 14. So
that's very difficult. So hard.
Yeah, so he didn't. It's too bad he never lived long enough to be ashamed of me. No, I'm kidding. He would have been proud, I'm sure.
I bet he would have been so proud. He
Frank,
this.
I love you, Mr. Conniff. All right, so
and also my dad was friends with a lot of comedians. So
really?
He was Phil Silvers was at my dad's wedding, and my dad was really good friends with Jackie Gleason. And
really, you never told me this.
A lot of.
I can't wait for this picture. I can't. Are you going to put your parents' wedding picture up? It's got to be
I have a really good picture of my parents.
Oh, we have to
out on the town, like in the 50s, that I'll put out. That's like perfect. It's so Mad Men. You won't believe it.
You're going to love it. I'm so sorry to do this. This cuts out rather suddenly. Rachel,
really?
I love you so much. Can you give us anything you're trying to promote? Something, sweetie, before we cut out. It'll be a hard.
You can watch my Netflix half hour. I have a half hour on Netflix, or my hour special called Only Whores Wear Purple, which is on demand on Comedy Central. I miss you guys.
I love you. Thank you so much for doing the show. Follow us, subscribe to our show, Frank. You're the best.
Thanks,
Rachel.
Love
you, sweetie. Bye,
I love you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.